I'm absolutely delighted to introduce to you the keynote speaker for this session, Precious Berry. Precious Berry is an 18-year-old youth activist and public speaker. At the age of 14, Precious started her career in politics by interviewing social politicians, local politicians, and educating herself about history. Since then, she has motivated thousands of youth to exercise their voice and fight on issues that young Black and brown communities face. Precious learns that through activism and social challenges, youth have to include themselves in the decision-making process. Precious Berry, the voice of Gen Z, has delivered speeches, hosted meetings, and empowered her peers and community members and politicians with her message of all over St. Louis. Aside from being a young activist, she is a recent graduate of Riverview Gardens High School and now a sophomore at Washington University in St. Louis. Precious?
Good afternoon, everyone. I know you all can do a little bit better than that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Precious Berry. I am super excited to share the stage with you all today. First, I just wanted to quote what Ms. Butler was saying earlier, one of the greatest civil rights leaders, Dr. Martin Luther King. One of my favorite quotes is that he states, "It's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it's a cruel gesture to tell a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps." And that is something that I live with each and every day as being a youth activist, making sure that I am sharing the stage and pouring the wisdom out into young people. Hello, everyone. My name is Precious Berry. I am excited to be here with you all today. I'm a youth activist, author, and public speaker here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am also a sophomore at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri on a full-ride scholarship. I got involved in my community in activism about the age of 14 by interviewing local politicians and teaching myself about history. Now, during this time in my life, I didn't see a lot of young people being in the decision-making process, and I wanted to make sure that, as we know, our late great Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm states, bringing a voting chair, making sure that we are bringing that voting chair to every room that I stood in when it came to advocating for young people. And it always amazes me to see young people in the audience here today, and I wanted to say that you all inspired me, and I hope that we can continue to change the world together. So what is that folding chair that needs to be at every table? I've realized that when you're not just representing yourself, I am representing my community and my peers. Looking closely into our communities, I realized that young people don't have a voice. That voice can sometimes be silenced, ignored, and most importantly, not have merit, which does not hold any importance. I never thought in a million years that my voice would not have merit at such a young age as it is now. That was because I didn't see a lot of young people in rooms during the decision-making process. I want to thank Proud for allowing me to share the stage with you all and continue to be a voice for so many others. It's nothing like going back into your community, pouring wisdom and insight. You all are continuously doing the work in the community by bridging that gap between youth, community, and society. Being on the forefronts of Ferguson, exposing and giving opportunities to stakeholders is what's its most imperative. You all are appreciated. Yes. Before I get into my speech, I want everyone to ask themselves, what is the meaning of owning your voice? What does it look like when you are advocating for you? How is it going to be affecting or being beneficial to you? How are you going to make a change in your community if you are not utilizing it? Now, I know that everyone in this room here is a catalyst in some shape or form, but it's important to know what your passion that you have for anything that you are trying to pursue. As a young person, these are the questions that I began to ask myself at the age of 15. I looked in my community and I didn't see the resources, or I felt like I didn't have any access to them. I didn't see equality, I didn't see justice, and I didn't see the things that I know that my people didn't need or didn't have. My district, Riverview Gardens, is the district where I learned that broken systems don't define my future. But learning how to work in those systems taught me how to make those crooked lines straight. You know the saying, no matter a person's zip code, everyone deserves the quality education and the right resources, just as others, to register their full potential in whatever path that they want to take. It's imperative to know that our voices seek justice, not only in our households, but in our societies and in our communities thus far. We all have those times in our lives where we feel like our voices are shunned. If I'm being honest and transparent with you all, mine had trembled in my young adolescence. This was a crucial part of my adolescence because I felt that there wasn't any space for me to be authentic and represent myself. I knew that I wanted more. Today, we are here to speak about the importance of relationships and mentorship in our community. If I'm being honest, mentorship saved my life mentally, physically, and emotionally. I went through a strong era in my adolescence where I had to make some crooked paths straight and lean on the people who supported me, guided me, lifted me, and make sure that they inspired me through it all. They most importantly motivated me to show that my future was bright. There are so many women and men that I can name who have given me the opportunity to be my authentic self and who I am to this day. But most importantly, I have never forgotten to thank God for protecting me, keeping me together, and showing me that there was a way out. I believe that relationships are vital to young people in society. It could bridge that gap that youth might need to have a sense of direction and motivation in life. Every young person knows that having a relationship in your life is imperative. I know that we all go through that phase where we feel like we all got this on our own. Hey, I was felt the same way. But I'm here to tell you all, you need people. You need a support system. It will aid you in so many directions, direct you in so many ways that you might need. To every adult in the room, I challenge you to mentor someone who doesn't have the last name as you. You never realize the impact you can make in a child's life. There are 3 main points I want every young person and adult in the room to remind themselves and leave with today. The first point is to discover your identity. One of the greatest lessons that I have learned is that as young people, we must continue to discover who we are as individuals. During this time in our lives, we begin to question who we are as individuals and what paths should we take when we are on this ride. Now, personally, along this journey, you have to silence the voice of the world to hear the voice of God. And what is he trying to say to you so you can feel his presence? The second point is to know your worth. Next, I discovered knowing my worth. When I learned that, I continued to notice what was important for me and took no bounds. I remember that there was a time where I felt that my voice was my superpower. I knew that as a young Black woman, every time I stepped foot out of my house, I had a calling that I knew was higher than me. After this, knowing that when you know your worth, you will love who you are as an individual and learn to find yourself through experiences in every shape and form. The last point is to take action. What is the action that you need to take to make a difference, not just in your community, but also within yourself? How can you continue to navigate through life's challenges and still be a catalyst in your own way? When you do that, you will make a difference and more. I know that I'm only 19 years old, but I know that in this line of work, so far as being in politics and studying my history thoroughly, that there are 2 roads that I see a lot of people take. The choice to think that their path is all about them and their success, how high they can climb in their career status, or the so-called save the world approach. That you have the vision in the world, and the passion to change the world, that you will fight tooth and nail to make change because you are different. To everyone in the room, I want you all to prove that the stereotypes and misconceptions of you are wrong. Now, I won't say that this road may be easy, but trusting in yourself when you are afraid, when you are sad, when it's hard to make a decision is what makes you most fearless. As I was gathering this speech, I had to understand that this was coming from a source greater than myself, and most importantly, that I was continuing to speak towards my future. I want everyone to think about your worth again, your power, and your integrity that you have in this world. When you walk out, take control of who you are, and you are the narrator of your own story. It's going to be a time where you have to work hard and prove that you deserve to be in any space. Now you all go be great. Never tilt your crown for anyone. Stand firm in your truth, and remember nothing in this world could take away who you are designed to be. Thank you. free to connect with that young person. I also wanted to just elaborate on this with young people is that over the summer, I had the opportunity to travel to West Africa for a month and a half. When I tell you that was an experience in itself, it was an experience. I was grateful that my school gave me the opportunity to travel again on the full scholarship to Senegal. And mind you, that was my first time going out the country, my first time being with a different set of culture of people, my second time actually learning a new language. It was Wolof. My first semester of college, it was my first language. I learned Swahili. And I feel like it wasn't fair because it was like 8 kids in the class, right? All the kids were from Africa. And I'm like, I never even learned Spanish in high school. So I was like, kids coming in, Jinalago, Nina Toka, Mijiwa, Katika, and I'm like, how am I going to compare to these students in class? I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to not just triumph, but I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I was so set back. But I say all of that to say is never be afraid to get your feet wet into something that you've never been exposed to, and always be willing to work hard for something that you want in life. Never let anyone stop you. In high school, as I was just speaking to another school last week, it's so easy to fall into the cracks and get into the wrong crowds, get into the wrong groups, get into the wrong places at the wrong place and at the wrong time. Make sure that you find your passion, pursue it relentlessly. Never let anyone stop you from doing that. You all want to go into the medical field. You all want to go into engineering. You all wanted to go into architect. As young people, we need you all. I need you. We are the future change makers. We are the future voters. We are the future leaders in our community that can make a difference. So just keep going. I know school can sometimes be rough sometimes. I went down that same path, and I'm still going down that path as a sophomore in high school, college. But you got this. Stay strong. Keep inspiring your community. When you walk out that front door, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing your brothers and your sisters and your family and your community and your culture. You got this, and keep shining. Thank you all so much.